Hi, my name's David Corby, and in this short video I'll be talking about the meaning of life. The outline of what I'm going to speak about, basically going to look at what is meaning and how do I feel like my life has meaning, and what can I do to gain meaning and purpose in my life. So in my life I spent at one stage 10 years working towards getting a particular job. I had in mind, I had set goals and I'd worked towards them, and I'd been really focused, and eventually I got exactly what I wanted, exactly. And after about 2 or 3 months I realized that it wasn't what I wanted. And it was sort of debilitating in a way, because it felt like I wasted my time. The whole 10 years spent getting something, only to realize that, it wasn't what I wanted. Now, I learned a lot from that stage of my life. I learned that to have meaning, to have purpose, my life needs to represent what I value. Not what my head thinks is a good idea, not what other people think is a good idea. It's what I, in deep down, believe is important for me. And now that I'm a mind-body medicine practitioner, I often work with people to help them to have more meaning and purpose in their life. And I find that the more their life reflects what is truly important to them, the more meaning and purpose they have. To understand how this works, you just have to understand a little bit about how your brain works. It's like I've got two personalities in this brain. See, one side is very organized, it's logical, analytical, gets me up in the morning, gets me organized to work and so on. That part we're very familiar with, and that's sort of the logic part here. Now you can see the logic part breaks things into bits, so it's able to look at a person and say, okay, brown hairs, blue eyes, so on. It compares, so like if I'm comparing myself to others, that'd be a logic thing to do. I feel a sense of separation. This is very important. Logic separates us from people and makes us feel alone and separate. So the more logical we are, the more likely we are to feel separate. It's where language is, and it gets us organised, as I said, in the morning. Now the Gestalt half is something that people are less familiar with, but it's so important when it comes to meaning and purpose. So Gestalt allows us to see the whole. What that means is that if I look at my daughter, I can see her as a unique human being. If I look at my dog, I can get a sense of who she really is. That is a Gestalt process. It's not something that can be easily explained, but it's something that you can have had an experience with in your life. You'll know exactly what I mean. So that sense of true connection to others, that is a Gestalt thing. It doesn't have words, the Gestalt. If I can communicate with emotion, if I can communicate with my body language, I'm using my Gestalt. But if I'm trying to communicate with myself using this part of my brain, it actually does it through the body. So the way the neurology is set up is the Gestalt half of the brain projects through the autonomic nervous system into our body and makes us feel a certain way when we think of things. And this is where gut instinct comes from. It really is a Gestalt thing. So gut instinct is a neurological mechanism for us understanding whether something's going to work out or not work out using non-verbal communication. And this is very important when it comes to meaning and purpose, because the more of our life that's ruled more from this side of the brain, the more meaning and purpose we have, because we tend to it tends to help us to be able to have our life reflect what is most important to us, because what's most important to us is not something that we've logically thought. It's something that's inherent to us, something that we just inherently know is true for us, and bringing that out into our life more, those deeper values into our life more, is what makes all the difference in terms of having meaning and purpose. Obviously, connection is an important thing for a lot of people in terms of getting meaning and purpose, but not just connection to other people. It's even more important that we have a good relationship with ourselves and connection with our deeper sense of self. Now, you may have had a moment where you're on top of a mountain and you were looking out over this vast landscape. You know, I love going to the mountains in Europe. And when I'm up there, it's quiet, and I look around, and I can just feel part of a much bigger thing. It's like a microscopic portion of a really, truly beautiful thing. And when I'm in that frame of mind, I get a sense of deep peace. You may have had it when you were surfing, or maybe you get it in a forest or watching a sunset. Whenever your mind switches off and you're able to just be aware, that's when you get that sense of real connection. And with that comes a sense of my life fitting within the greater world that I'm living in, and you get that sense of meaning. We really are, in terms of our mind, we have three levels. We have thoughts, we have feelings, and a deeper sense of self. Now, people often don't understand that feelings and deeper sense of self are not the same thing. Feelings reflect our relationship with our deeper sense of self. That's true. So every feeling tells me something about how my deeper sense of self is going. And I'm going to be putting blogs on about each feeling and about what each feeling actually means. But the deeper sense of self, when we're in contact with that, the only real feeling is a sense of peace. And I call it joy. You just feel good. And the more in contact you are with that part, the more meaning and purpose you have, and the better you will feel. So the way forward is to connect with that deeper sense of self and express it. In mind body medicine, we actually work with the body to help people connect. It's just fantastic for this sort of thing because, as I said before, our sense of this other side of our brain, our sense of the deeper sense of self, it is actually embodied. We feel it through the body. So the worst thing we can do in order to avoid having meaning and purpose, to not have meaning and purpose, is to live in our head. And some people are so in their heads they just can't even feel their body, and that's when their life has no meaning and purpose. And so what I try to do is bring a person into their body. In the process, it frees them up. They feel more flexible in life. They just enjoy life more. They live more like children in a sense. So they learn to get younger as they grow older. And with that comes that sense of meaning and purpose. So with mind body medicine, we can actually use the body and body sort of treatments to help people actually get better awareness of their deeper sense of self. To find out more, you can come to my website, www.davidcorby.net. I have a book, Finding Joy Within, which you can Google. And you can also, if you're interested in coursework, look at the College of Complementary Medicine, www.complementary.com.au.